Hello everyone, welcome to the Don Pod. You're here with Sam, me and Nath. Hello Nathan, how are you?
Good, thanks, Sam.
Yeah.
I shouldn't really say good, thanks, but yeah, how are you?
Besides football, I'm good. Bit of a change up of the audio for the intro this week, courtesy of Arsenal Football Club, I believe. Thought it was fitting, so thanks for that, Arsenal. Also, a bit of a change to the way we're doing this, so apologies if there's some teething issues or some audio issues. We just basically Zoom changed on us, so
bastards.
We have to try something new. So here we are. Don's Dogs, we got pumped again. 103 to 71, I believe it was. Get my little cheat sheet open, will help me significantly.
Score doesn't even matter.
Does not matter. A bit like the size. Disposals, Merritt 36, Parish 32, Redmond 29, and Heppel, 29. And as always, I finished with Rusty Martin 25, Mr. Consistent. 4 goals for Wright, 2 for Cutler, singles to Draper, Stringer, Baldwin, and the Guelphinator. For the Dogs, Caleb Daniel 32, Dunkley 29, Dale and McRae 28, and their goals: McNeil 3, Dunkley, Wallace, Waitman, and McComb 2, and Vandermeer, Bont, Cordy, and Bailey Smith 1. Now, if you came here looking for good vibes, you are sadly mistaken. Nathan just had to come in and hype himself up. It was a noise I've never quite heard before from a human being.
I had to do some wooing to get myself motivated.
It's fair to say we're a little bit on the flat side. But we'll get through it. We've got another Who Am I? Because that's my default apparently when we're a bit shit, is I bring out a Who Am I? So look forward to that. If not, we'll crack into what I think will be 2 positives before we get into some of the not so good.
Maybe we should, no, we can't. There's no point doing the negatives and the positives because we'd get on too much of a tangent and never come back.
We'd never come back, yeah, that's right.
Yep, fair enough. No, good point.
The good, for me, Rusty Martin, again, I want to share...
win our best and fairest this year.
Absolutely. I want to share a tweet, and I will credit the guy that said it. Windy Hill, far out, try again. Windy Hill Windstock on Twitter says, Nick Martin always makes good decisions. You can tell he hasn't been in the system long. I thought, summed it up beautifully. 25 touches, get the point, but just, again, continually made the right choices and just looked a class above the rest, which is appalling for the rest of them.
I think it's a valid point, though, is that he hasn't been coached by our coaches, so he's still...
he's got confidence still.
Yeah, he's still playing football the way he was taught as a kid. I get the ball, I kick it that way, and we see what happens, basically. I look for a man that seems to be reasonably by himself, and we'll just play along.
Yeah. And I say it every week, he just makes the right choices and has time in traffic and Pendlebury-like, we call it. Hopefully one day we'll say Martin-like, and we'll be talking about our boy Rusty, not Dusty.
Yeah.
And the other positive, your boy Ridley, probably his best game for the year, 20 touches, 8 marks, and pretty solid, but the ball was down there that often.
We played a very good game on Norton. I thought that Norton, I think, might have kicked a goal. Can't remember now.
I didn't say Norton's name at the start, so no, he didn't.
No, well, I was going to say, because there were stages where I walked away from the game.
Yeah, I didn't watch the entire
so things could have happened that while I wasn't... I'm sure like a few people watching at home may have drifted. I had to walk out and take a few minutes.
For my own mental health, I didn't watch the third quarter. Norton won behind for the day. So, yeah, secondary dub. I didn't even consider that. I just thought the ball was down there a lot. He took 8 marks, which I'm guessing a few of them were intercepts, if not all of them were intercepts.
And a few good spoils, I recall, and, just good decisions. No, look, he was good.
Finally cracked the ton in Supercoach. Thanks, Riddles. Any other positives for you?
Look, I thought Draper was excellent
Yes,
too.
Sammy.
It's 2 games in a row, and although I have issues with our selection
We'll get
around
there.
the second ruck, he, as a single ruck, is doing a really good job. It's his enthusiasm and his I don't know, Draper-like sort of mannerisms. Like, he grabs the ball, takes off on a run, butchers it when he kicks it.
I don't know if this will resonate.
Trying to snap goals over his head at one stage.
I don't know if this will resonate with you. Just being a generation older than me, he's a bit of a meme. He just does things that keeps it interesting. We could be losing by 10 goals, and if he busted through 2 blokes and kicked a goal, the crowd would still go nuts.
Yeah.
Not that he'll ever do that because he can't kick, but everything else, yeah, as you said, he was.
Hey, we did 3 positives there.
We did. We found an extra one. Who knew? Apart from that, though, that's about all I've got.
That's all I could.
That's all you can muster? Okay, fair enough. All right, the bad. And I've called it bad this week. Last time I called it concerns for Anzac Day. It was just concerns. Now it's just bad.
No, that's fair enough. That's bad now.
So I know you've got a lot to say, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. I want to mention last week I said we had 18 players with 2 tackles or less. This week we had 14. So, I mean, I guess that's a slight improvement, but 5 with 2.
Collar workman like Sam.
5 with 2 tackles, 8 with 1 tackle, and there was 1 with 0 tackles. That was Draper. So make of that what you will. At least if he's not tackling, you can't give away free kicks.
I do find it funny that he doesn't tackle much as a ruckman. Like, you're there around the ball all day,
all the time. But we're not going to.
No, that's fine.
We're not going to go into it because we just talked him up.
I just find it interesting. Not even one.
That was my big thing, was the tackles, because as you said, blue collar. That's not blue collar. We're still.
Well, I think it's to do with the fact that we're getting flogged week in and week out. You think that we don't have the footy. The stats show that we don't have the footy a lot. So you think we'd be tackling them?
Yeah, I know you want to talk about the forwards, so I'll lead in with one stat, and then you can go. We had 39 inside 50s this week, 3 more than West Coast.
Yeah,
and that was it. So West Coast had 36.
7 marks inside 50. So does that mean? Now, I don't know if this is how the stat works. Does that mean that 32 kicks went inside 50, and I reckon most of them were bombed on Peter Wright's head? And there's a few where other players kicked it in and just missed targets, I guess. I can think of that one by by Parrish, which was horrible, where he busted out of the middle and just missed Perkins by half a paddock. But I reckon
you can assume 39 inside 50s for 21 scoring shots. So they came back out without any fuss 18 times.
Which is a lot. It's probably... Well, here's a
you go. Yes, go with
here's an interesting stat. I'll give it to you. We had 26 turnovers in our back half that resulted in 8 goals too. So massive issues, but and a lot of them were I can think of moments where Merritt was running out of the ground, he handballed it to someone and handballed it back to him and got tackled, got turned over. So, but also some of them are defenders that are turning the ball over by foot, and look, Heppel's one of them. Let's all be honest. The Red Dog gave a shocker when he was clear and free, running along and just butchered the ball into the middle, and we were just left totally exposed for the ball to turn around and go back the other way. So that's a real concern. But the other concern for me was the number of times we got to about the halfback, and you and I texted this. We got to the half-back line. Maybe the wing. Well,
yeah, this is my big issue right now, that we can get from half-back to wing pretty quickly. Yeah, boom, 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 the cute little handballs. Looks nice. And we get to the wing, and that's it. It dies. And
now, in the Collingwood game and the game up before that, I think that what we had acknowledged was that, I know, for example, what's his name? The Collingwood guy takes great marks all the time.
Jeremy
Howe. He was setting up as a loose defender, and whereas we had the loose extra or the extra player in the midfield.
Yep. At the contest,
and so we were getting the ball in the midfield, and we were winning sort of clearances or whatnot. But then we were getting the ball, and we just were putting our heads up and go, well, there's Jeremy Howe's up ahead.
No, we had nothing to go to every time.
We had nothing to go to. And you're like, well, that's not very good coaching. Like, Why don't we even that up the other end, see if we can still win the clearances without the extra player and see what happens. Because there's no point winning the ball on
and
the
then
wing.
having nothing to go to.
Because I reckon there were 3 or 4 times when we handballed, and just spilt it on the wing, turned it over, and they just went back. Like, that's not a game plan.
But it's a constant theme. And I had issues with just the fact that we played on Sunday afternoon, right? So I watched a fair bit of Richmond and West Coast, which was a pretty dull affair, let's be real. And then probably the second half of the Geelong Fremantle game, which at that point was probably the best game of the year. I can't stand Geelong and rated them so highly for how they finished that game of football to get back within 3 points when it was pretty much done. But just watching how both of those teams defend the ground, how they move the ball.
Yep.
And then you watch us, and then I made the mistake of then going and watching Brisbane and Sydney, and I mean Brisbane are probably second to Melbourne right now. Unreal in the wet, and they're moving the ball, kick mark. Zorko, I think there's a passage of play where Zorko had the ball on halfback, kicked it to a wing, ran forward, got the ball again, sort of true wing, and then kicked it. Like they move, they run, they can kick. I don't see any of that with us.
Well, this takes me to 2 issues with the Essendon Football Club. And I want to start by saying I don't think it's about the players as much anymore for me as it was in those early games where we were really concerned with the effort we saw from the players. Like the Geelong game stands out to me.
Freo game where they got slapped about.
Third quarter in the Freo game was really embarrassing. There were periods in all those other games where we just went to a walk, really. Now, the concern for me is now coaching. Either our players are the unfittest team by a long stretch, and that seems to be what it is, or they are so disinterested in the game plan and the coaching that they're not doing or trying to any degree. Now, I wouldn't think that would be the answer. I think they're just cooked and either really unfit, or I don't think you can be overfit and burnt. So I just don't think they're anywhere near fit enough. Now, the thing I wanted to bring up was the frustrating strategies over the last few weeks. And one of them is the fact that we won't play a second ruckman, which, look, I know we didn't need it in the ruck, but what we needed in this game was a second tall forward. Because when you've got Baldwin coming in and rucking at 193 centimetres, and he's played 3 AFL games, and he hasn't played for 2.5 years because he's had 2 knee reconstructions. I'm like, is he the guy to throw into the ruck? And then the other option is, they realise that didn't work very well, so they throw Peter Wright into there. And then Peter Wright, all of a sudden, we've got no options down forward as a tall marking. Just play Nick Bryan as a second ruckman / tall forward. Because when you go to the VFL, there's not much going on down there in the VFL from tall forward options.
Yeah, that's right. And you're right. How we're going to just say, Baldwin, mate, you can just jump into the ruck there, because that means Peter Wright can stay forward. And Peter Wright kicked 4 goals, but 3 of them came in the last quarter when the game was done.
Yep.
So it's not like he had an influence that could have won us the game with 4 goals. They were meaningless, I guess, at the end of the day. But you're right. If you had Brian, I'm going to call him Brian. If you had Brian rucking, you would never need Wright or Baldwin. And then all this benefit that we think we get out of Wright being a forward all the time, then we get Baldwin being a forward all the time.
And you might actually have someone who can mark the ball on the wing. You might have an option.
Bit of a lead up forward.
Yeah, lead up forward. Because what's happening is a contest where Bryant or Peter Wright, and it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough time to affect us, are contesting the ball in the ruck. And when we win it out of the clearance, which we're pretty good at doing, then all we're doing is looking up and going, no one to kick to. Because Sammy Draper's on the bench, and there's it's Perkins, and he took a few good marks. I can think of a few good marks, but he's not, I don't think he's that option, with our style of football. So I put a fair bit of blame on these coaches at the Essendon Football Club at the moment. I think that the other thing I think is hilarious is that, so in round 2, we wouldn't tag Lachie Neale, after he had 44 and kicked 3 goals or whatever. That every week since, it looks like McGrath's been given a job on a specific player.
Just to follow someone around. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a bit strange because we didn't do it in round 1 or 2, and now we're sort of like...
And that round 2 against Brisbane was winnable.
Yeah, exactly.
Really. And
I don't think the Dogs were very good.
Dogs were garbage. How the Bulldogs were not 10 goals up at half time. I could not. I was sitting there at the time going, how are we in this? Feels like we're 10 goals down and we're 9 points, I think it was.
Yep. So I guess we all know the senior coach, Ben Rutten, not Brett Rutten. But so when you go to the Essendon website, Nicola, I'm not involved in the Essendon Football Club, so I don't know the ins and outs of all these
call
sort of
off
coaching.
the podcast.
Yeah.
I thought
So it's got Blake Caracella as midfield and attack. So it's got Gene Siracusa as a back line, and then it's got a Dale Tapping as forwards. Now, Dale and Blake, if you're both doing the forwards...
First name.
Well, you guys need to have a very good hard look at what you're doing because it's shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's seriously crap coaching. You're either teaching them to run too deep get sucked into a contest and not get back, or we're just ignoring the fact that they've got loose defenders. Now, the other thing I'll finish with is their sort of 6 main defenders were Richards, Duray, Gardner, Daniel, O'Brien, Dale. Now, 4 of them had 20 or 20 plus possessions. And a lot of those were beautiful. Like I can picture Bailey Dale kicking some lovely passes into their leading forwards or into, forwards. Our forwards were the leading possession getter was Matt Guelphy on 17 with 1 goal. Next was you got Peter Wright who kicked 4, had 12. That's fine. I have no problem with that. But you've got Hobbs had 10, Kane Baldwin had 5, Waterman had 7, and Stringer had 11. Now, a couple of things. There's another coaching thing I'd like to say. Ben Hobbs, either he plays in the guts or he plays in the VFL in the guts getting experience. He's not a half forward or a forward pocket. It's not his role we drafted him for. It's not where he played as an under 18. If you're going to develop him, don't you dare develop him as a forward pocket. Develop him in the VFL like Sydney do at their club, and they'll send some kid 3 years into the VFL playing that role, and he'll be very good by the time he comes to play seniors. And they won't go, no, just get a game. Like, coach, find the forward pockets and put them in the forward pockets. Don't put a midfielder who's played 3 games. And I think Ben Hobbs is going to be a very good football player. There's nothing against Ben Hobbs. I think he's just been played horribly out of position.
Yeah. And that's the same category as great monologue, by the way, 10 out of 10.
Sorry, I finished.
The same thing applies to Baldwin. I don't think he's a crap footballer or anything because he had 5 touches and was ordinary. No. He could be in a side where he's playing as a third tall forward. And if he's playing as a third tall, he would be getting a lot more looks at goal. Excuse me. But we just don't have it. And he's being forced into the ruck, which is mind-boggling.
They've just got to bite the bullet and pick another tall. I don't necessarily care if it's Brian or not, but that is the clear option.
There's no other freaking tall.
Well, there's no other. When you go look at the list,
Francis, but he's not tall. He's tall.
Well, and he's. I still believe. I don't know if he played in the VFL. He was injured. The other guys are like Air, who's been playing as a sort of half-back centre half-back role. I'm not putting anyone who suggests Reid goes forward should get a bullet because he's drafted as a centre half-back. He will be a centre half-back for his whole career.
And he was very good.
He was great.
Like as in a second game, very good. I wrote down some numbers if he's actually at quarter time. Let me consult my notes.
But he didn't look overawed. Like he made some mistakes. He didn't position himself very well in a few times. But second game, don't care.
My notes stopped at half time. A bit like Essendon. To quarter time, 4 kicks, 2 marks, 2 tackles, and he was going at 100%. It's not a lot, but
no,
it's something to hang your hat on. And he didn't look overawed. He got smashed in the last quarter, just a lack of awareness, but that's fine. Yep. That was about the only mistake he made all day. And he's wearing the number 31. There is no chance in hell he's playing forward, people.
I don't want to know. In saying that, we were quite strong that McGrath shouldn't go to the back line, and that seems to be the only place he can play now.
Actually,
I don't want it to be... I didn't want this anger or frustration to be about the players. I think The players
Well,
have been
I have a
hamstrung
question
by
for
the
you.
coaches at the moment, I feel.
I have a question for you without notice and without a lot of thought. So forgive me for that.
I'll try and think.
Cam Rayner up
Yep.
at Brizzy. He was a number 1 draft pick, I believe.
Yep.
I'll fact check that as I continue talking.
Yeah, no, go.
And he's basically now a permanent forward. He's not a midfielder. They found a niche for him to be that forward.
He's not a very good midfielder, I don't think. He doesn't get massive numbers.
He hasn't played as a midfielder for such a long time. Is that an avenue? Not saying for Pidge, but if we've got extra midfielders, is that an avenue where we might be able to... How tall is Rayner?
No, because I think that falls under the Hobbs issue, is that some
Hobbs, it's too
midfielders can do
early.
it because
But
they're
like
natural.
McGrath, in that example.
No, because I watched him snap a ball in about the third quarter and he nearly missed his foot or just... Did you see the snap I'm thinking of where he... It was a horrible attempt at a snap. McGrath's a backman. He can just stay and play as a backman. A lot of good players, a lot of high draft picks. Number 1 draft pick at Carlton has played as centre back. That's fine.
Okay. The last thing then on the game plan and all that sort of stuff, I said to you today, which is really a nothing sort of thing, but if we were conceding 60 points a week and scoring 40, fine.
Yeah,
I can sit there and go, right, well, we're clearly working on something defensive, get that right, and then we can worry about moving into forward thrusts and all that sort of stuff. But we're not, because we're conceding 100-plus points most weeks. I think...
Yeah, we were averaging
3 weeks
108,
at least. Oh, Collingwood might not. Anyway, doesn't matter. We're averaging a lot against. Not quite as much as West Coast, but that's not who I think we should be comparing ourselves to.
Not at the moment, no.
And that's the frustrating thing for us, and what we've spent a large part of today trying to figure out is, one, what are they trying to do? Because I've got no idea. Like, I can't... Not that I'm overly... or not at all tactical, or like I can't really look at a game and go, oh yeah. But you can sometimes work it out, and you can see the same thing happening over and over again, and you go, right, well, that's clearly what they're trying to do. The only thing we're doing over and over again is handballing until we're under pressure and then losing the ball.
And this is where I think something is fundamentally wrong with our game plan, is that
Only took 24
we
minutes
had
for that
a ridiculous amount of handballs. I don't know the exact number, but when you look at Zach Merritt, he had 27 handballs and 9 kicks. He is our probably close to best kicking midfielder. Parrish, 19 handballs and 13. That's about sort of his ratio, and I'm okay with that. Yeah. Heppel, 15 and 14. Caldwell, 11 and 9. Like, a lot of these guys are either they're got nothing to kick to, and they're turning around looking for options as handballs, or they're trained to handball and get out of trouble, because our game is sort of that frontal pressure and, trying to handball forwards to get the game going. Richmond style, which, I'd hate to break it to you, it doesn't work anymore for them. Then if that's what we're doing, then, and even I heard the coaches say, there was a bit too many handballs. And I go, well, that's strange.
Change that.
Wouldn't you, at halftime, boys, get it on the boot? And then they go, well, actually, we can't get it on the boot because there's a guy sitting up there by himself. And if we put it on the boot, it's basically going to go down his throat. And that'd be Bailey Dale, and he's going to just turn around and kick it back over our head. So how about you stick another freaking forward, or tell the forwards not to get sucked into the contest and try and get a kick. Instead, just stay in their 50 that we kicking it to.
Yeah. There was another point I was going to make then, but it's escaped me.
That's okay.
Oh, we'll move on. Anything else that doesn't involve... that's what I was going to say. Sorry, that's what I was going to say before I forget. We're not like, obviously, coaches or even play football or anything like that.
Life coaches, Sam, life coaches.
Yeah. But we can sit there and go, well, whatever it is you're trying to do, whatever that is, it's not working. Clearly, it ain't working.
And it's not like it's not worked this 1 week.
Why not? Hang on.
Sorry.
Just have a breath. Have a breath, mate. Why not at 3/4 time? And I know this is probably a little bit junior, but just be like, righto, guys. Play your natural game. Don't worry about this handball thing. Just try and go back to whatever it is you do best as a footballer. Merit kicking, Parrish getting in there, all that sort of stuff. And while, I guess, maintaining your structures a little bit, just try and go back to their roots of what they are as players, because they're good footballers. They're AFL players, so there's talent there. But just not calculated, throw the kitchen sink. Just be like, do what you want within reason. You know, I can't word it without saying just go nuts, but just take the chains off a little bit. Give them freedom to play some natural style of football and see if that improves anything, and then maybe you look at your game plan and tinker from there, knowing what your players are naturally good at. Because clearly whatever this Richmond style isn't working. We shouldn't be trying to just emulate Richmond anyway.
Nope.
We should be trying to put our own brand of football.
We're trying to emulate Melbourne, really.
Well, but based off Melbourne or Richmond, not just being them, because we don't have the cattle they had. I don't know, just freedom. And give them a chance to play without freaking out about following instructions or anything, because they look scared. They look lost.
They look overcoached.
Completely lost. So, I don't know. Give them a freedom.
Well, they're either overcoached
we can't do any
or their
worse.
structures are broken.
And if we do any worse, well, we're going to get a good draft pick. So, honestly, at this point, who cares?
Oh, at this point, yeah. So, one last stat I thought was interesting, and this one was a problem at the start of the year, and it's sort of been addressed a bit for a couple of games. But we won the hit-outs by 15, but lose the clearances by 5. So, again, we're hitting it, but we're turning it, like we're not hitting it to our players properly. And that's another thing of Draper's that I'd like him to work on.
Has improved though, but
yeah, it has improved.
Right.
Like,
if you're winning
probably the first week in the last 3 or 4, it's been that bad.
If you're winning hitouts, then naturally you'd hope you're winning clearances. Especially by 15?
Especially centre clearances, different around
stoppage
around the ground clearances, because that's a lot more congested. Whereas then there's only 3-on-3. You can usually if you get that tap right. So that's. I mean, as I said, my frustration is moving away from being with the players. I think the players make mistakes. The players have good games. They have bad games. We love the players. We know they're all, well, at least they're trying in the last few weeks. There was a few weeks earlier where I don't think they looked like they were trying.
I hate that word.
Well, as you said, what did we say about that? You know, like you're paid to turn up and try. Like shouldn't be coaching effort.
Effort is expected. It's
an
expectation, not you should be coaching skills and game plan, not effort. It's bare minimum.
And it's one of my... Yeah, okay.
I wasn't really going to say anything, so finish your thought, please.
That's right. Well, I just think I'm now... I'll be interested to see how the coaches... the other thing, I guess, around the coaches too was the Shield decision, or what would you call it, a non-decision?
Massive statement. We're going to drop our bloke that cost us 2 first-round draft picks that we're paying $800,000 a year, but you can sit on the bench and not play VFL and not really take anything or learn anything from it.
Now, I want to tell you something, Sam, that I don't think you'd know. I read on Twitter today, or from a Fox Tom Brown type reporter, there is a Melbourne-based club very interested in him.
I don't care.
We will sell him for bananas.
But that's what I was going to say. I don't care if we keep him or trade him. My problem lies in the fact that we would struggle to get 1 first-round draft pick for him.
We won't do that.
And we paid 2 first-round draft picks 3 or 4 years ago.
We moneyballed that the wrong way.
Shocking. That being said, if I'm Rusty Martin, I'm going far out. I'm so much better than this lot. Hey, Freo, do you need a midfielder?
Yeah.
We might just get a first-round pick for him.
But the whole thing with the Shield thing, so they make a statement about not picking him or dropping him, and then he plays as a medical sub anyway. The right thing to do if they're going to make those statements, and I don't care about, I don't know the reasoning why. I know he hasn't been great in the defensive sort of aspect of his game, but either make the statement and send him to the VFL, or don't make the statement and say internally, you've got a couple of shots left, mate, or you're in trouble.
There are plenty worse. I don't understand why it was him. A guy that's probably already a bit shit on confidence because fans are hard on him, possibly rightfully so, but we're critical of him more than some
We loved him
players.
when he arrived.
Oh, yeah, I was in
We want to get his jumping number.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. If you're going to drop a guy, drop him. Make the statement by Dylan Shield, this bloke that's earning $800K a year is playing in the VFL.
Yep.
That's your statement.
Yep.
Right now, the only statement is sack a freaking coach or 2. Right.
Well, pressure should be on the forward and defensive coach. I mean, I know Truck
How
has.
often do assistant coaches get pressure, though? It's
Oh
Truck.
no, Truck has to deal with all that, but he should be saying to these guys, like, if you're spending all your time working on this, mate, and I'm looking at it from a overall sort of perspective, you need to lift that shit that we're doing up that end because it's not working.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to move on because this is just endlessly bad.
We could do it in circles. We could go in circles.
I'm going to do a bit of a who am I? For the benefit of the listeners, I don't want you to answer. I want you to possibly let me know when you think you know who it is, and then we'll say it at the end. I don't know. I want to give the listeners a chance. Because otherwise, if you get it straight away, not that I think you will, bugger it, you won't get it. Just guess.
There you go.
For 6 points, I played 79 games for the Essendon Football Club.
79.
And now, if you're here on the live on Facebook,
is that the first?
That's it. That's your clue.
Oh my god!
No one gets it on 6 points, and Alfie got it on 6 points on Thursday night. So I need to make it a bit more difficult.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. You've certainly lifted there. 79 games.
79 games. So
I'll have a guess after each one.
You can have a stab. One guess is what you get. Just don't get it right, because that would kind of kill it.
Penniman.
No.
Okay.
How
many games you played?
No one in the comments just yet. All right, I'll crack on.
Cool.
For 5 points, I debuted in 2006. Okay. Great year for the Essendon Football Club. Wearing the number 36.
Not Kyle Reimers.
Not Kyle Reimers. I wouldn't be bringing him up, don't worry. Oh, Alfie's just dropped the Kyle Reimers too. No dice.
He was something like that number, 36 or 39, I reckon.
I don't remember. I reckon he was a bit later debuting than that. For 3 points, just make sure there's no other comments. For 3 points, I was traded to Richmond at the end of the 2013 season. Sorry, for the 2013 season, which was also my last season.
Traded to Richmond? Ooh, I'm intrigued. Who did we trade to Richmond? I know we got some Richmond duds off them.
So, yeah, traded in 2012.
2012.
And he played 2013, and that was his last season of AFL football.
Yeah, no, you've got me. I don't know.
Adam's just chimed in with Nick Martin's our best ever 37. Hard to disagree with that.
I don't know who. He should get number 5 next year. They should get rid of
do it, yes.
Smith and give it to him. Oh, that'd be...
Adam has just got it right in the comments. Well done, Adam.
Freak.
That is freakish. For 2 points for you, you can answer whenever you're ready now. I have the initials SL.
SL.
You're shit at this. You're shit at names.
I know. I am shit at this.
You're the best opponent. Not opponent.
Shane. Steven.
I'll give you another little...
no, just go to 1 point.
He shares a name with a host of the Don Pod.
Sam Langford? Sam.
Come on, get there. He's now he's a runner at Richmond now.
I don't remember him going to Richmond. Sam. It wasn't Langford. It was...
No, it wasn't Langford. You're quite right. Come on. Keeping the people waiting.
I don't know. Just tell me.
Sammy Lonergan.
That's it. This is a great way to make me look like an idiot.
I'm not making... You can do one. Next week,
No. That's you do. Keep doing it. It's so much fun.
The listeners like it, and I'm more than happy. As long as it's post 2005, I should be right.
Yeah, I know she set it up for your age group, whereas you
were there too.
Yeah, I know. I could do a 90s one that'd trouble you.
Yeah, unless it's Hurdy or Lloyd, I'm probably
screwed.
There's
a few others.
All right, that's a bit of fun. Anyway.
Yep.
We'll get onto the votes in a minute. I'm just going to just have a look for some comments that we can read out here. Jeffrey Marr. Oh God, it just reloaded on me. Sorry, Jeffrey. I don't know what your comment was.
Oh, Sam.
Did you just delete it, Jeffrey? Because it just disappeared. I'm so sorry. Can Cameron Luke, and this is a question we could do an entire podcast on, so let's be careful not to go overboard here, Nathan.
Okay.
Let's be real. Season's done. Why do the comments keep disappearing every time I start to read them?
Don't know, Sam. I'm not in charge of that section.
Facebook, what are you doing? Essentially, he asked, season's done, who will be trading away? And what can we get for them?
No. Look, as I said, I will stand by this statement, Sam. It's as stupid as it
You
is.
stand by it.
I still think there's a good core of players in there. We're lacking. Did you do a little vomit in your mouth then?
No.
We're lacking some serious key forwards. I don't know. Jones he could be another perpetually injured player. Like this, as we need a small look. The Davey boys will you assume one of them will be arriving next year in our draft. We're going to have a pretty high pick. I've seen that there's a tall Western Australian key forward who's in the top sort of 6. I say you just keep going to the well of the kids. You're trying to build a team. There's still a very young list. Like Merritt could be the oldest player on that list next year. Besides obviously Heppel, but who knows with Heppel. The team is there's a lot of 25 to 20 to 19-year-olds. I mean, we saw kids like Baldwin's 19, he's played 3 games. Reed's 19 or maybe 20, he's played 2 games. Durham's played maybe 20, probably not even that many, sorry. So there's still a lot there. Who we trade out, I don't think we have any currency in our list, to be honest.
No, the only currency is Draper, and remember the bit where I asked to keep it brief, they're champions? You've had your verbal diarrhea pills this evening, haven't you?
I got myself hyped. Sam, I'm hyped.
The problem we're having right now is that we have more comments than I'm used to, I think, and they're just disappearing. So I do apologise.
Disappearing.
Well, it's like there's only a certain number that get displayed. So every time we get a new comment, the oldest one goes.
We review our commenting system.
Well, I don't know. Anyway, I'm just gonna crack on.
Is it any better on the on your phone app or?
I don't know. But anyway, I'm gonna just
go on.
Read a couple of comments that
I
I
feel
find
like screen
interesting.
grab quickly.
Well, yeah, doesn't matter. Adam said quality stuff, so there's that. He did ask, does that mean Sam has never seen a finals win? Complicated question. I'm a 93 baby. I don't remember 2000. I didn't really give a shit about football until like 2009.
Well, you
So
were
essentially-
obviously 7, so you probably, yeah.
Well, I was 11 when we won our last final, and I didn't really care.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So, yes and no, however you want to read that.
Whereas I've been through the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s.
Whereas Nathan's old, so he has flags.
4.
I just have this sadness that all my teams are terrible. Chelsea lost to Everton last night. Who, if
We're not doing
you
this.
like
We're not
soccer,
doing
that
your
is
soccer.
just awful.
It's called the Don Pod, not the Sam wants to talk about crappy English
Come
League
on,
football.
we've been going for 40 minutes. You've waffled for at least 35 of that. Let me have
It's giving
5
us
seconds
content,
to
buddy.
talk.
Content. This is what the people want to hear.
I don't know about that. Only 3 tackles inside 50 again. No forward pressure from Nathan Reynolds. Yes, absolutely. Do you think Nick Martin will leave at season's end? From Sean, I doubt it. I wouldn't blame him, but I doubt it.
But you'd also think that we were the club that gave him a go. Like he went, he was on West
owes
Coast
us a little bit.
He trained at West Coast, and they obviously didn't see. I don't know. They must be blind.
Yeah, I don't know how he got to us at that point in time.
But we talked about this today.
Class in the warm-ups. Like
He's a good chance to win the Rising Star Award.
right now, he'd be leading from Ginnivan just on consistency.
No, not Ginnivan. Nick Dacos.
I reckon Ginnivan's more of a shout because he's done more flat. Doesn't matter. You're getting off topic. It's close. All right, it's close.
Okay.
And that's about it. Adam did chime in again with Nathan's my vintage. Then, so there you go. You're my vintage. You're a similar age. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Elfie is possibly my vintage. So just so I feel like I have a friend in the conversation.
Yeah, fair enough. You need friends, Sam.
Podcast favourite, Alfie.
Alfie.
Adam's probably now your favourite, but hey. And Jordan Toole, 150 years, and it's the worst year up there with the saga, which I actually put in the little blurb for the podcast. I didn't feel like this. I didn't feel this bad about life with football when we were going through the drug saga.
Well, the thing with that, the 2016 year when we had no players,
At least we had a reason.
We were 1 and 6, weren't we?
No, we were 1 and 18 because we won in round 20.
No, did we win an early one?
Yeah, so we were 1.
Yeah.
And 20. Oh, Alfie's 39. God damn it.
He's closer to me than you, dude.
You didn't have to tell me that. You could have pretended.
I did figure with the name Alfie, that's a bit more of an older
could
name.
Go either way.
Name, but I don't know.
Adam started a hashtag Team Nath, so get on that. Nath's got his own hashtag.
Team Nath. Don't know what that means.
Of course you don't.
I'm Altab. I just watch football.
You're on Twitter. You do Twitter.
I'm on Twitter.
Hashtag. You know what a hashtag is?
Do.
All right, don't worry about it. I'm not.
What does a hashtag do, Sam?
I'm not. I can't explain this to you.
It's like talking to your grandfather, isn't it? Papa.
It's worse. You should know better. You're only in your early 40s. You
mid-40s.
Okay.
Hang on, I'm 45, buddy.
Wish I was 20-something again. Yeah, look, I'd take 20. 28's no fun. I'd care a lot. I'd be a lot happier if my football team was any good. All right, we're going to do some votes, and then we're going to wrap up because we could sit here and talk garbage.
I'd love to hear Alfie's votes.
Alfie, give us your votes. Adam, give us your votes, please. And anyone else. Can't play favourites.
Find 3 players that you thought deserved.
Well, for me, Martin 3, Ridley 2, Draper 1.
Yeah, I went similar. I went Ridley 3, Martin 2, and Draper 1. Yeah. I thought it was Ridley's best game of the year.
Absolutely.
And that was kind of it was nice, and maybe that was because Reed played. I don't know if we have that. I know Zerk Thatcher played, but having an actual decent tall forward that you could rely on, maybe you had Ridley. But then the Doggies aren't an overly tall forward line either, so maybe that helped us too.
Yeah,
who knows.
I'll just give him a couple of seconds for some votes to come through. Alfie asked if you got the couch day, Mart. Are we obliged to plug the sponsors? I don't know.
Well, let's just say so.
I could complain about Amart right now. I've
had a
fun time with them.
I actually work at Amart, and this is just me in the office on a Monday evening. Everyone's left.
Full disclosure, Nathan doesn't work at Amart. Alfie's come through with some votes. 3 Draper, 2 Rusty, 1 Ridley. So some players just
different. They seem to be a consistent 3 of what we sort of saw.
Different. And I am biased. I probably would have put Ridley 3, but I just love Rusty Martin.
Oh,
so
he has been a shining light in a pretty dull year. And
that's all I've got right now.
Yep. And he's been great in fantasy too, to be honest.
Yeah, solid as they get for what he started 102k in Supercoach.
Well, in Supercoach he started 102. In fantasy he started at 190. So yeah, both of them he's averaging in the 80s and 90s or whatever.
Ripper.
Doing
all right,
great.
We're going to wrap up. Hallelujah. We'll be back on Thursday for a preview of the Hawthorn game. Finally, a Saturday game where we can actually talk about the teams and sink the teeth in if there's no ruckman or no second ruckman again. I'll be sure to bring another Who Am I. Feel free to bring your own, please. I'm sure the people would love for you to make me look stupid. Your words.
I don't know if it's possible, so.
Thanks. No. Kind of you. No final thoughts from you? You've had plenty of thoughts tonight, probably not.
I guess, look, I'll just try and look forward to I'll be watching the game next week. Look forward to it. Interested to see team selection about who comes in and out. Obviously, Cox I would have thought is injured. So I'd be interested to see what else they do.
Yep. All right. final plugs. Give us a subscriber on YouTube, please. We're trying to get up towards that 1,000 subscriber mark. Currently about 150. The Don Pod
Don't forget
on
Amart.
YouTube. Amart, yes. Nathan's Couch.
Our sponsors.
I did create a little Instagram if you're on Insta. It will be mostly my little journeys to football, I'll be honest, more than the podcast. But hey, if you want to give me a follow, EFC_the Don Pod. I think that's it. Nothing else from you? No.
Go
All right.
Dons.
Go Dons, yeah, that's how we normally finish it. Go Dons.
Go Dons.